Good morning, guys. I guess it might not be morning where you are, but it's definitely just morning here. And I thought I would say hello. I'm at a conference at the moment, and I've just got out of bed. And I wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I have been checking out. Let me know if you're listening, because it's Sunday, and I don't usually do these on a Sunday, but it's been a couple of questions in the group about fear. And there was a Kristen Ulrich. She was the extreme sports skiing champion for the world for 12 years. And when I mean extreme, like, she was jumping off cliffs where you couldn't see the bottom, and just like off snow cliffs and where you can't see the bottom, and just would ski all the way down or somersault and do some random stuff like that. Anyway, she was talking yesterday, and she had this amazing analogy that I thought I would share with you guys. So here in the group, Victoria was talking the other day about fear and anxiety before you have a big day with clients, or even before you see clients. And there's a lot of talk of overcoming fear, and there's a lot of talk about, how do you overcome it? How do we make it go away? How to, and this fear and anxiety, and what we can do about it. And I loved this reframe that Kristen was talking about. And the reframe was, so if you have kids, if you had a whole bunch of them, and, one of them was named happiness, the other one was named joy, another one was named, it's very like inside out, but I don't know, it just clicked with me this time. If we named another one sadness, and we named another one anger, and we named another one excitement, and we named another one something else, right? If you had all of these kids and you had fear as a kid, how have you been treating fear? And if you were trying to overcome fear, like if any of you guys have a kid, you'll absolutely know what I'm talking about. So if you treated fear, hey Moira, hey Amy, and hey anybody else who's here and isn't saying anything. If you treated fear the same way as you are actually treating fear, and if fear had sentience and it was a child, pushing fear away, trying to overcome fear, shoving it out of the way, keeping it in the corner, not giving it the light of day, only giving it 1% of your attention, and then giving happiness 99% of your attention. Imagine what happens to fear. And if it was a kid, like I know from my kids, if I ignore them, what happens? Like, they just come back with a vengeance, and they pester you, and they pester you, and they pester you, and they pester you until you give them attention that they need, right? And this was the thing. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. When I was, it would act up totally. And you get resistance, and it just resists, and what we resist persists. But I just got it on this different level, because if fear was a kid and I keep resisting fear, I keep resisting anxiety and refuse to feel it, just like a kid. If you refuse a hug from a kid, oh my goodness, how crushing is it? And they just want your attention even more, and they just want your love. And same thing, like Maura was saying, fear just gets louder. Anxiety just gets louder. So instead, if you turn to it and start embracing it, what would it look like then? Like, honestly, what would it look like to feel? And I know that that naff quote that I put up the other day seems a little naff, but actually when you dig a little deeper to it, that feel the fear and do it anyway, emotions need to be dealt with on an emotional level. Emotions can't be dealt with on a mental level. And that whole notion that we, a lot of us are learners, we love knowledge and we love like thinking about things. But if you can't think your way out of fear, because in thinking your way out of fear, it's like thinking your way out of how to treat a child. It needs emotion. Like, you need to feel the fear. Feel it, embrace it, see what it needs, see what it's telling you, see what it's giving you a sign of, and then do it anyway. It's very much like a child, giving it the space to be held and be, yes, awesome, and I'm still doing what I want to do as an adult, but just giving it the attention that it requires and listening to hear what it's saying. It might be saying excitement, especially for you guys who are just starting out. Your fear of seeing new clients and things like that might be because it's exciting to see new clients. It might be because it's giving you this amazing message of where you could feel confident in the future. It might be giving you a message of you are enough, but you're like totally just holding your hand up to it. My fear on those Thursdays and my anxiety, like my little mini panic attacks before these huge mammoth days with clients, was actually telling me you need to respect your energy cycles. You need to give your nervous system a break during the day. And instead, I would just sit rocking back and forth, wanting the fear to disappear in the back car park of my clinic. But when you embrace it, when you lean in and listen to what it has to say, give it the attention that it needs, just like a kid, if you stop the hug, they're just going to keep coming back. More. I need a drink. I need an icy pole. I need more attention. Can you do some art with me? But if you stop and really be present to it and feel the feelings with your child, it's like, and then that's it. It's like it's had the attention, it's had the light of day, and then it can shift. So I found that profound and interesting. And there's always things that you can learn over and over again, and you hear them just slightly differently the next time, and then boom, like you get it. And that was one of the things from that. Then the second thing is there was another guy that came on yesterday. His name was Patrick Groves. Now, Patrick Groves is a serial entrepreneur. He's an Australian guy, and he came up on stage in his thongs and his boardies, and he didn't have a speech prepared, so he just asked the guy who's running this conference to interview him, interview style, and they did that with Jason Silver the other day as well. But Patrick Groves is actually, he just sold last year or the year before, one of his companies to Rupert Murdoch for $750 million. He has taken 5 companies public, which means he's essentially made 5 companies go to $100 million within 2 years, and sold them and put them on the stock exchange. And he got up on stage in his thongs and his boardies, and it was profound to hear what he had to say. And it wasn't about business, and it wasn't about, all this stuff. What he said was, and he showed us his calendar. Once a week, he has 1 hour booked in to solve a problem. And so his problem used to be, how can I make $100 million in 2 years? Right? How can I make $100 million in 2 years? And his new one is, how can I make $1 billion? And so what he told us was his process of going through and journaling. Now, when he first started journaling, once a week for an hour, he does it multiple times a week whenever he's on a plane now, because he's on a plane quite a fair bit. But it used to be once a week. So he'd have like a meeting with himself once a week to journal, specifically to journal. And when he first started journaling, it was all just, you know, the shit. Like, he had to get all of the stuff out. And it's actually past whys is how he described it. Why did this happen? Why did this fail? Why am I feeling not enough? Why, you know, why on the dark side? And once he'd got all of that out, he realized that there was space for a why on the light side. And so all the questions that he was asking and all the things he was answering in his journal were about, you know, why can, you know, what's available to think of the future, and why do I exist, and why, you know, and it was all visionary stuff. And what he said was, that's wonderful, and it's fantastic, and you have to go through the process of getting all the yucky stuff out first, and then it creates a space for creativity of why, like, why am I here, why this business, why this lifestyle, why, right? And then the gold on the other side was when he said, as soon as I started asking the question of how, from a space of cleared stuff, so clearing all the stuff out, and then asking a how, it turned into an actionable step. And so now his journaling, he said occasionally that other stuff comes up and he just writes that out, and then there's the how, and then you're able to focus on how. And so I was really moved that somebody who is, you know, potentially creating billion-dollar businesses has a journaling practice, and he absolutely says that is the game changer for him, because with the world that we live in of bright shiny objects, and the world, he actually says that he believes he's got ADHD, and his ADHD mind needs more structure. And so what he does is schedules in 1 hour a week to journal how he can figure out the problem that he feels like he's here to fix. This guy just, and so in going through that process, he said it takes 4 or 5, and then usually the answer will drop in, or a version of the answer will drop in, and he'll take action on it, and then something will come of that. And so what he's just launched is iFlix. Now, Netflix is available in all the Western countries in the world, and they have Western movies and Western shows, and, you know, we all end up being addicted to you know, Orange is the New Black, all these American shows, right? But there are so many more people here in the third world countries, or the emerging countries that we like to call them, and like literally billion people, and they all watch television from their phone, right? So they don't watch television like we do in Western society with big TV. They all watch it from their phone. So what he's doing is going and answering the question of how can I create $100 million business that provides access to all the people that I hang out with. So he lives here in Bali now, and he still runs his Australian and Singaporean businesses, but and he's an Aussie walking around in thongs and boardies. But how can I create this solution? And so when he was thinking about how can I make $100 million, he came up with, well, there's 1 billion people here, and they all watch things from their phone, and they don't have mobile-orientated Netflix that is in their language. So he goes and gets all the local content and puts it on this new platform that he and his team have created. And now he's just about to sell that off for, literally $1 billion. So, and Africa now has iFlix, and India now has iFlix, and Indonesia now has iFlix, and it's emerging as the next thing. And so he's disrupting all of these different things, like free-to-air television. He's disrupting Netflix, and he's disrupting, even YouTube for what people in these emerging countries get. And all from, and he absolutely says that it's all from this journaling process that he does. And he doesn't get attached to the outcome. He just waits for something to drop in, knowing that the other stuff has to get out for the good stuff to drop in. So, guess what I'm doing? Journaling. Because when I was listening to him, I was pretty inspired, hence me telling you all about it. And I was like, okay, so if I want to, and so, yeah, this is as kooky as it gets, people. It's very rare for me to be on here on a Sunday, let alone telling you my mission and my vision. But here it goes, right? To create a global tribe of 100,000 natural health practitioners, activating a paradigm shift in the profession through an educational platform and immersive experiences on personal and business development by 2025. So, how do I do that, right? That's a really big, how. And when I break it down into the immersive experiences I want to bring you guys when I'm flying my helicopter around the world and dropping in, and we're doing health checks with Jules and the volunteer organizations, and like we're creating these amazing volunteering communities all around the globe, and we're bringing attention to the needs of women and health and entrepreneurship in these areas, as well as your women. You guys are predominantly women. Yeah, I can see you guys, but 98% of you guys are. And your entrepreneurship. What is your business and what does it look like, and what's the ripple effect? And how can we do that? Like, how can I create that? How do I take down those chunks and take the next actionable step for that? So it's really easy to vision big things. It's a whole different story to turn them into actionable things where you don't get sidetracked. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I was just so inspired, and I really learned through teaching and speaking it. And so I wanted to share it with you guys. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of the weekend with your families and sustaining yourself. I invite you to take on whatever you got from this. Maybe watch Inside Out with your kids if you've got them. Maybe write a letter to fear about what, how you could have a different relationship with fear. And maybe journal. Maybe get that yucky stuff out first, then kind of tap into your why, tap into your vision, and then find a big problem and ask how you can help with it. All right. Mwah. I will catch you guys next week, because I'll be back in Australia, possibly on the train actually not on Thursday. I'll see you guys on training Thursday. All right, see you later. Bye.